Hi, everyone. It is Samantha again on Embracing the Divine Feminine. And it's been a little bit since I've been here. And as you can see, we're going to talk about consistency today and the struggle with it. And I say that just because I have struggled with it personally. And there are many reasons behind that. Like I say, I've been wanting to talk about this for quite some time. But over the past few weeks, I did get pretty busy with all of my other things in life, of course, with the holiday being here. And then I do have these different types of careers that I've had in my life that will resurface where people need help in that area. And that's what was happening over these last few weeks, which was okay because I felt really good about it. So I used to be a hairdresser. That was the first career I ever had, a stylist, I would call it now. But I did have a lot of things come up that way, just the kids mostly. And they thought it was fun. I've been doing their hair for ever since they were little because I had two little girls, so it was really easy. I've been doing their hair for years. And then they didn't go anywhere and have their hair done until they were probably 22 years old. And occasionally they will come back now, because obviously it's cheaper if mom does it. And they consistently get good work. So that was kind of fun. It came back into my field. I was able to do some fun hairstyles, like some color and weaves, bleach, all of this stuff, and some haircuts for our youngest son. And so, that's always fun. They usually come back to me. So then I have worked in construction management. Some of that stuff came up, like where I was painting, I was helping out. Painted. I love painting houses, not ceilings, which this was a ceiling. So that was really a bear, and who knows, right? I'm an herbalist, I'm a respiratory therapist, I do sound healing consistently. So all of these little mixes of what I know and what I do came up over the past few weeks. And so it was kind of holding me back from what I do here, getting on YouTube. I'm trying to be more consistent with that. And I was wondering, why I tend to lose my consistency on things. Okay. So now this one happens to be, of course, you're hoping you get views, but that's not really it for me, because when I share, I want to share authentically, because some of you might be struggling with this as well. And I question myself constantly when I'm going through things, okay? So this is what I've figured out with me and consistency. Okay. So, oh yeah, I forgot to mention I'm a realtor. And so that's where a lot of my time went over those last few weeks, showing houses. And it's great. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it does take me time and it takes me away from sound healing and from getting on here. But so what I have found consistently working in real estate, especially this year has been very challenging in our Arizona market, because we've just kind of been at a standstill. Not a ton of houses are selling. So we move more into a buyer's market, which is great. But I've had a couple clients this year where I've showed them so many houses. So what does that mean? That means a ton of time, preparation, and resources used up front before they ever find a house. And what happens when you've spent 7 months with them and showed them 50, 60 houses, and then they just decide to wait, or there's a health concern, or something like that, which comes up. It's valid. It's people's lives, right? And things happen. But when I'm putting that amount of me out forward and it doesn't come back, it is just so draining. Okay. So that's one thing I noticed. And that has been happening a lot this year, because in our market, we have a ton of homes that the prices went up. I'm sure in the Phoenix area, prices went up Not crazy like California, but they did get pretty high. Rates went up. But what we find in the housing market here is not all the houses are fixed up. So if you're going to pay $500,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you probably want it fixed up and updated. Well, that in the houses I've seen, that is not true. That really does not happen here consistently. So what you find is you have these buyers coming in from different states, and that's what they're hoping to get, and then they're finding, oh, here's a $500,000 house, which they're being appraised at that, which is great. That's the market value, but they still need $100,000 worth of work. So that can be very challenging, because would I want to do that myself? No, I wouldn't. And so I totally get it. But that's my struggle with that particular instance. Okay. I think that's probably the biggest one, because I have been through burnout before. And, I was a respiratory therapist in trauma at a trauma center and a burn center. So just go, go, go. It just really burnt out my nervous system. So I am very conscious about how much effort I'm putting in to something without receiving anything back. Okay. Time, energy, effort, resources, period. That's what I've been doing all year in real estate. So it can really push my buttons to try to get back on the getting on, making the phone calls, doing all of these things, being consistent. And in real estate, being consistent is one of the biggest factors. So that's kind of where my struggle comes from. I'm not sure if you guys run into the same thing. But that's a biggie for me. And then trust that, when you're putting that much of your effort and stuff up front, it's hard to discern at times. Like, say a new client comes in and you're thinking, okay, well, this is great. And then you start getting into the long haul. It's like you're always trusting that something's going to come through and that you'll earn an income, right? It's so much different than going to a job and you're going to get paid, which is what I consistently did for most of my careers. Okay, I was always punched a time clock, and I really understood how that worked in that game and whatever. But this being an entrepreneur and actually doing what I love, which is sound healing, I will still run into that because I'm putting effort forward. And if I don't see the ball rolling, like the consistency, then it's really hard. And I want to pull back on my energy and effort because it's so exhausting to be constantly putting yourself out there and not necessarily seeing the return. And, I don't know what a lot of that is, I mean, I work with my mentor and everything, and I don't think it's all limiting beliefs. Okay. I think there's a lot of it that is, sometimes sound healing can be considered woo-woo or whatever. It's just not mainstream in a lot of areas, but, I do see that moving forward. So I have been working on my sound healing a lot, my sound quality. And so you will see some things coming forward on that. And I'm super excited about that because, when I work on sound and within sound, it is recharging and re-energizing. So it doesn't even seem like work, right? It's wonderful. I would love to do this every day. And that is my plan. Okay. So, I kind of ran into just these things weighing me down on my consistency because, like I say, in real estate, I know how consistent you have to be. You need to make your phone calls. You need to be in contact because people forget and they will just hire whoever they meet on the street, or they'll walk into a house and they'll say, I like it, I want to buy it. And they don't really think about their realtors, which is fine. I totally get it. So I'm committing to myself to be more consistent. But I also want to be here when I'm being authentic with you And I'm wondering if any of you guys run into this. I mean, it could happen with family too, where you're just over giving. I am pretty much consistently, I wouldn't say now over the past 2 years, but I would say most of my life I've consistently been the overgiver. And so you start to have these boundaries and really noticing when you're giving more than you're really getting back. And my initial reaction is to withdraw, pull back, and wait and see what happens. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily the greatest thing, but it can be exhausting. And that's what I find is I get exhausted since I've been through burnout before. Like I say, my nervous system isn't the same. So for me to consistently be putting more and more and more out there, right, at some point I have to say, okay, well, I'm going to find something different to be putting my energy into that can be more consistent for me. So I'm already seeing in real estate, like next year, I've had a ton of people reaching out to me. So it looks like it's going to be great next year, but you never really know because there's a lot of factors involved in that. But my love is sound healing. That's what I'm working towards. Now, coming up, I will be having something for the solstice. I'll have a sound bath online for that. I will be creating some new short clips, so watch for those. And I'm just happy to be here with you and talk about these things. I really would love your feedback. I don't feel like I'm the only one dealing with these things. And I think we can get through it together and give each other helpful tips and tricks. And I'm always self-assessing where I'm at and how I can improve. And like I say, I'm not a perfectionist anymore. Maybe at one point I used to be. I feel like that was driven more by being with a narcissist. And I mean, I do believe in doing a good job when I'm there anyway. If I'm there like painting, then I'm going to paint right. I'm not going to paint and like leave the lines all weird and paint on the floor. Like, no, right? I like to do things well, but I don't have to be a perfectionist anymore, which is really such a relief. And like I say, I'm just trying to come on here, be authentic with you, bring up things that we all deal with and see how we can overcome them and work through these things. Like, because sometimes it can be limiting beliefs or it could be this or that. But I know that with me, it's because I'm putting so much effort out up front at this point and not really feeling like I have a lot coming back, especially in the real estate world. And that is where I tend to go to the sound healing because I love it so much. And it just, it heals my heart and my emotions. So anyway, I know this was a little all over the place, but what I want to do moving forward, you'll start seeing some new subjects that will come online, and I will, when I resonate and I feel like I can be authentic in sharing, that's when I will be online. And like I say, watch for more sound coming. When I have more solutions about what's going on with this, I will update you as well. Because these are just things that are coming up in my field, like I say, and I know there's got to be more people dealing with it than me. So comment below, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Thank you.